afternoon and good evening to you all. I know we are at different time zones. Welcome to our breakout session, which is titled Assessing Progress Towards the Elimination of Child Labor in the Agricultural Sector. And I'll be I'll be your moderator. And my name is Ashley Punya. I'm a former Zimbabwe National Students Union Secretary General, and I've been working, with All Africa Students Union, and we've been responsible for doing a lot of activities within the institution. And I'm very much happy to serve and be part of this program under the able and capable leadership of our esteemed Secretary General, Peter Kwasi Koji. Allow me at this time to give us all a few minutes before we start. I'm still in touch with my speakers. Some of them haven't joined in yet, so I will let you know once we are done. But thank you very much for the commitment that you are doing in participating in this 10th Africa Students and Youth Summit. We all know the importance of having a decade of the existence of the institution. So it is fundamental and critical for all of us to partake in this and see the institution grow and see that we make change in our respective countries. So for now, I'll give us a few more minutes while I allow my speakers to join in. But thank you very much. Hopefully we'll have a wonderful program. Thank you. If you are there, just unmute your mic and introduce yourself if you are able to do so that I can feel that there is life in this room. Anyone there to just switch on the mic and...
Hello, Ashley. This is Sherry. It's nice to hear you.
Hi, Sherry. It's also nice to hear from you. I hope everyone is safe that side.
Thank you. I hope so on your side too.
Sure. Thank you very much. Nice to hear your voice. We're still waiting for the speakers, so I'm just getting in touch with them and they will join us soon. Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. So today we'll be joined by 3 speakers from different countries. We have shown a lot of capacity and passion in terms of representing students and children all over the globe. And amongst these, we have Martin Tete Neti. I don't know if I've pronounced it properly, but is the general manager of New Age Agricultural Solutions Limited. If you are there, can you unmute your mic and your video so that people can see you and you can introduce yourself properly?
Yeah, hello. Yeah, so this is Martin from New Age Agricultural Solutions Limited.
Yes, thank you, Martin. Yes, thank you, Martin. Thank you very much for showing your presence. And also, we are joined by Andrews Adequai Togo is the Deputy General Secretary of the General Agriculture Workers Union.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, my leader.
Okay, I'm setting up. I hope I'm very clear.
Yes, you are very clear. You can just introduce yourself for just a minute, then we can proceed.
Okay. Yeah. My name is Andrews Tego. You can call me Andy. It's okay. I'm the Deputy General Secretary for the General Agricultural Workers Union of the Trade Union Congress Ghana, the regional coordinator for the Global March Against Child Labor, that's Anglophone region, and then the Fair Share Country Coordinator for Ghana. So I wear 3 caps.
Yes, thank you very much, leadership. It's nice to have you here. We're looking forward to gaining a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge from interaction that we're going to have in the next hour or so. Joining us also is our third speaker for the day, Sherin Omondi. She's the young leader
Thank you.
for rural transformation and food systems, Girls Back to School, Kenya. If you are there, Sherin, can you just unmute your mic and
Yeah.
the audience? Comrade Andy, can you unmute? Can you mute your mic so that we can give floor to others? Hello. Hello, Comrade Andy. Yes. So thank you very much, colleagues. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us this day. So to kickstart, I will just call upon Comrade Martin Omondi. Are you there, Comrade Martin? Comrade Martin, are you there?
Yeah.
Martin Nati.
Yes, please. Yes. I think the setting was different, so I got quiet.
Yes. So as you know, oh, no, it's fine. Thanks. So as you know that today we'll be speaking about assessing progress towards the elimination of child labor in the agricultural sector. I would like you to discuss with us, have a conversation with us in terms of how do we ensure that child labor is eliminated in the agricultural sector.
Okay.
Over to you, sir.
Okay. All right. So I appreciate it perfectly well. Does it mean that we kickstart or join a larger group? If not, then I can go ahead.
Please, you can go ahead. You can go ahead. This meeting is being recorded and it's being live streamed. So I'm sure there are some viewing on our different platforms, your Facebook, YouTube. We have a lot of viewers from those platforms. So you can proceed and go ahead in terms of answering the question at hand. Thank you very much, comrade.
All right.
Comrade Andy, can you mute yourself so that we can allow Comrade Martin to take us through the question that he has been asked him?
Yes. So thank you very much. Thank you very much again for the opportunity. Sad as it is, it's clear, or facts available on the ground has made it clear that Child labor is something we can't write off now when it comes to the agricultural sector of Ghana. In the past decade, I know there have been various concerns, various foreign development agencies who have undertaken serious work to be able to unearth the true veracity or the extent of child labor use in the agricultural sector. And so much work has also been done in trying to help mitigate, if not totally keep, child labor use in agriculture in Ghana. From my point of view, I would look at it in three facets. There is the issue where we have children who help their family, who help their parents on farms, and there is the child labor menace. Most of the times, there is always that confusion when it comes to which acts or what acts becomes child labor. And it is that confusion that makes it very difficult for various countries, mostly countries within sub-Saharan Africa, to be able to keep this situation. What we actually face now is with the use of children for laborious and most of the times injurious work on farms or other agricultural ventures, which for a large extent has a serious effect on their well-being, on their growth as an individual, on their education, as well as on their own safety and security. By that capture, we can then be able to understand that children who support their folks or their parents on their farms during holidays or when they're back from school, therefore do not constitute what child labor is. So understanding that fundamental issue, I think we can then be able to go down and streamline what we can be able to do to be able to curtail or curb this menace. Ghana as a country in general has a comparatively progressive child labor law. As is always said, the Constitution of Ghana and its appendaging acts do have serious or well thought out laws, which when implemented or enforced into full scale can go a long way into helping curtail this menace. Even the Ghanaian Constitution clearly states or it prohibits forced labor or child slavery, where in section 16 it states clearly that the right of any person, the person has the right to work under satisfactory, safe, and healthy conditions. Under the Ghana's Children Act of Act 560 of 1998, also clearly brings together child-related laws from various national legislations, and also has also proposed amendments designed purposely to help meet United Nations and ILO standards when it comes to Child's Act or Children's Act. And clearly, this statutory or this statute also clearly prohibits exploitative child labor, which is defined, as I've said earlier, as depriving the children of health, education, and development. In trying to curb this menace, I see the menace in three folds. The first fold is the legal regime, which I don't think we have an issue with because we have a legal regime which comprehensively addresses this issue. So for the first fold of legal regime tech, we have it sorted. The second fold is about implementation. By implementation, I mean that governments or the states should be able to prioritize the implementation of this by enforcing the arrests and prosecution and conviction of perpetrators who engage into sex, child trafficking, child slavery, child labor. And as well as also broadcasting it for all to see. When such happens, it then puts fear into others who might actually be in the same act but have not been caught yet, or those who actually have the intent of even going to that act. So we just have to ensure we make child labor or people who engage in such appendages of the description very expensive, and for them to be able to actually undertake such endeavors. And I think the last part or the last segment is the empowerment of these children and their parents. And one thing we understand or is clear, I mean, is that research has showed us that when individuals are not empowered socio-economically, they become vulnerable to a lot of these issues. For a parent who has quite a number of children and has or is not socio-economically empowered, such a parent wouldn't bother engaging or helping or aiding people to actually engage these menace or these unfortunate acts. So there should be comprehensive arrangements by governments, by companies like mine, or into the agribusiness sphere, and by all development agencies to help improve the social economic aspects of parents who are within regions where these things are actually predominant, because it's not all regions who suffer these things. Mostly, where child labor has become prominent, it's actually within the most predominantly cocoa growing areas. Other farming communities do have it by birds, rampant in those the cocoa areas, as well as those who are also engaged into the fish farming, those who go to either the lake or those who go to sea. Now, these areas are where this unfortunate menace is actually predominant. So, as such, in trying to improve the socioeconomic livelihood or the socioeconomic lifestyle of these parents, where because resources are scarce, we can definitely be able to target individuals who live in these areas so that going forward, the support can be able to trickle down to across all agricultural areas. By targeting these three areas, I am of the opinion that we can be able to drastically reduce child labor, child slavery in agricultural sector, if not entirely cabinet. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, thank you very much, Comrade Martin. You raise critical and fundamental issues, particularly when you speak about, from the onset, we need to define what child labor is. Because in Africa, we know the subsistence farming, and that's how many families are surviving through. And also now, when you start to unpack, particularly in terms of the legal aspect, legal roots, and the critical question of empowerment, I think it's essential. So for now, I know there are a lot of questions around what you have said, but I'll allow questions to come in once we have had a round with all speakers. So for now, I'll call upon Sherin Omondi from Kenya to speak to us about what has been discussed, and also tell us which measures should be taken to step up efforts to reduce, prevent, or eliminate the rise in child rape by agriculture. So thank you very much. I will call upon Sherin Omondi on the floor.
Thank you so much. My name is Sharon Omondi. I work with the community in educating the young people the importance of going to school. I am also a teacher by profession. So many children around the world still work on the farms, especially in tea plantations, hard cattle, among other heavy work. And this affects their education and their health. children are sent to, the farm to, work for their families and all. Then we have another challenge is working for family, and we understand that we like the first speaker said that we need to understand and separate working for for the family and also working as child laborers. And of course, some of the main challenges is working for the family that the young children do. And then we also have the gender aspect where, in some cultures, the girl is supposed to stay at home and probably go and do the work in other people's farms so that they can get money. And we understand that this whole aspect rotates around poverty, because if we have or had eradicated poverty, then most of these children will be in class, and us as teachers will be able to have 100% attendance of class. There is also the attitude encouraging people and the community to normalize child labor in agriculture, which is spearheaded by their parents and relatives. And this is an example. We have a family that goes out to look for money through, in tea plantations. So their children are carried along with them, and during the whole day they are, getting till. So their parents are the ones who are actually spearheading and normalizing child labor in the community, and even this calls out to the community. However, we need to understand that there are light duties that do not affect children's health, education, and their well-being. It is therefore our duty as young people and as the community to prevent child labor in our rural areas, and we must work together to achieve that. But while at it, we must eradicate poverty, as it is the main cause of child labor. We've had cases where we miss a child in class for a whole week. Now tell me how this particular child is going to come back to class and be at par with the other students when he or she has been out in the field looking for money, to help their families. And some of the parents, when we ask them, of course, when attendance is taken, and we ask them what they think about, having the children in school and, of course, helping them. And most of the time they say that we want school fees and the children need to help them find these school fees. And the only way is, go to people's farm and, take care of their plants, and at the same time, herd cattle, which is actually at the top notch of it all. So we therefore need to do a lot, and this is collective responsibility. And one of the first things that I am calling upon young people to actually help us, and even the community members, is advocacy and awareness campaigns among parents. And this can only be done in schools, because parents tend to visit schools, and especially when they're called upon with schools, and of course in community engagements where we now have the local government, try and break down to these particular parents and community people and make them understand what child labor is, what is the age, and what they need to do. We also need to have capacity building activities, and this is going to help us bridge gaps using the existing structures. For example, like the ILO, they have a whole structure that deals with labor, and of course in the sector under children. So there are dynamics that change every single day, and knowledge is power, like they say. So we need to make the community understand that what do they need to do, how do they need to do it, and what do they need to have. We also need to have systems in place that are readily available for the people to report cases of child labor. Just like the health community has done a very wonderful job in doing campaigns for gender-based violence, having already working positions for particular cases, we need to have this also in the child labor, sector. Have systems that are in place that can help, the community at large to report these particular cases. And of course, look for funding to support existing organizations that are working with the community in eradicating child labor, because we need to remember that it is very low, and we need to be dealing with other issues and not child labor. I want to appreciate the campaign that has been done by 100 million campaign in eradicating child labor. As a member of this country, Kenya, I have seen what they have done in terms of letting the community know through campaigns, online campaigns, of course, and even at the ground level. And this has helped us as young people to also understand that there are things that we need to understand in child labor. This is not a conversation that most of the people have in their communities, because even when you engage parents, they tell you our child needs to work, but they need to understand, what does my child need to do? Is it affecting the child's education, time? A young child needs to be out there and playing with the children. Of course, they can help, but is it affecting their health at the same time? So I think that is the whole aspect in which I'm seeing the assessment of child labor, and also it being very low when it comes to what needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those are very critical issues, particularly around education. I think, as you know, All Africa Students Union have been, a prominent institution in terms of, pushing for free education, pushing for issues around, the academic sector, so that everyone gets the privilege, which is not really a privilege, but it's a right. Everyone gets a right to have education, so that these conversations can keep on, and they can go to a grassroots level, and everyone start to converse around these issues. So thank you very much. I will now invite Comrade, Comrade Andy. Is he still there? I saw his video flashing in and out. I'm not sure if he's still there. Comrade Andrew. Okay, no, it's fine. So I think as we are waiting for him, we'll proceed with going back to Comrade Martin. You had raised a lot of issues, I think, as you in your initial submissions. So I think now we can start to speak about the initiatives, to say which initiatives should be put in place as part of efforts to help ensure that families of victims have decent employment conditions and improved standard of living. You spoke well about the empowerment of people, civil forces. We should be out solutions. So, Comrade Martin, what are the solutions? What are the initiatives that we need to put in place to us so that we can help these families have decent employment conditions and improve standard of living? Over to you, Comrade Martin.
All right, thank you. For my end, I have two proposals. These are proposals which, as individual private companies, as a company where I work, we are trying to implement some of these. However, we are only just a drop in the ocean. I think a government-wide or a regional-wide adoption of these proposals I have can go a long way to help alleviate this menace. One. A second, please.
Yes, I see the future is coming in the spotlight. Don't deny the future, my leader. Just carry on. Where they are also there to learn. Yeah?
Yes, please. All right. So, apologies again. So, with the two innovations, the first one I describe as the adoption of frugal innovations. Frugal is basically innovations which are using scarce resources around us. This is a technique which has been adopted by most Asian countries, even to talk of Japan, China, and India, where they have smallholder machinery. So, as you know, in Ghana, about 80 to 90% of our farmers are smallholder farmers. These are farmers who are doing under 2 hectares of land size. Some are doing as low as 1 acre, 2 acre. So for them, all what they care about is labor for their farms, and as such, they end up using their children should it be. Now, when we provide machinery, smaller machinery, not the sole dependence on these big tractors, which the ordinary farmers cannot afford. or might not be economically prudent for them to go in for such ones, we should have these smaller machineries. So there are handheld tillers, handheld plows, handheld planters, handheld even mowers or cutters. This will then reveal that one farmer can be able to do much more work than he could have, as against he using even labor or their children, I mean, quote unquote. So we starting to adopt these things or these frugal innovations can go a long way into helping alleviate this issue. My second issue is for government to also look at what I describe as alternative labor support services. Alternative labor support services means that there could be maybe a cocoa farmer who has maybe 100 acre. Might be difficult for him to have labor for the 100 acre. Should he allow his children not to help him? Now, governments in their drive to help increase youth adoption or youth interest in agriculture and to help reduce unemployment rate, which is skyrocketing year after year, can be able to adopt these individuals, set them into gangs of labor, support services. So if there is a locality where there's a total acreage of maybe at 1,000 acres, they can be able to give it to maybe a gang of 5. And these 5 gangs will have maybe 20 or 30 people, and then they will go and help the farmer to be able to do all these labor support services. Now, what then happens is most of these crops are crops that the government procures, or the government is the end buyer or the sole buyer of state produce. Government can then be able to take 8 costs, which is incurred of this labor support service, out of it. In so doing, the farmer will have no other option than to agree not to use their children for such slavery, and also will have no choice than to wholly accept, should they flout the statutes of going or using their children for such slavery, and they are being penalized for it. It doesn't then become a difficulty. So these are the 2 things: the use of frugal innovations, as a nationwide drive to allow farmers adopt use of scarce resources and smaller machinery to help the farming arrangement, and government also instituting alternative labor support services to help these farmers who ordinarily have no other help aside what their children or what our children or other those children can be able to help them with. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Martin. I think you have spoken well in terms of the initiatives that we need to do, and I think now it's a moment that we start to question. So if you are not speaking, please kindly mute yourself so that we can give floor to those that you are speaking. Thank you. So now I think we'll start to, as I was saying, that you have raised important things around the initiatives that we need to take globally, and there are a lot of things that we can do as a people at a community level, because solutions, I believe, they start, they are bottom to up approach. We don't necessarily need to have things being told to us, but the power is in our hands, the solutions are in our hands. So now I'll give it back to Omondi to say, I think it's the time that you start to question the courage that we have as a country, as countries, and at a global level. So my question would be, could the globe ever be bold enough to place a ban with corresponding sanctions on perpetrators of child labor in agriculture? You know what the International Labor Organization has been doing, different institutions have been doing, but do you think that with
Please
the
come
current
up again.
Yes, so I'm saying that do you think that the globe will ever be bold enough to place a ban on with corresponding sanctions on perpetrators of child labor in agriculture, because we have seen what the International Labour Organization has been doing, what different institutions have been doing, but still the issue of child labor has remained a fundamental question of our times. So do you think there is a point where we will be bold enough to, ban but put sanctions to the perpetrators of child labor in agriculture? So you can proceed.
Okay, yes, I still believe that as the world, and of course, because most, I would speak in the African aspect also, because agriculture, like I said before, happens a lot in the rural setup, because this is where we have lots of farmers, just like the comrade has said, that there are farmers who have up to 30 acres of land and they need to plant, but they need people to work for them. So there are incentives that I think the government, and it comes down to the lowest, the local government in particular countries need to come out and use already the existing structures that they have. And if it does not work, then we need to sit down with different organizations that are dealing with labor, and especially child labor. We need to come up with solutions that are workable. For example, in my local community, people do not understand that child labor is something that puts the child away from school. And if you try to bring that to a parent, just like I said, the parent will try and explain that this child is out of school because I do not have money to keep this child in school. And I do not have money to feed this particular child. So this particular child needs to accompany me to do the local work that we do in these farms. So then you start a different conversation with this child. But if the education sector have done it, then I think the child labor sector or the labor sector also can do it, but they need to work together, with other different organizations that are fighting this particular thing so that it works out. Because if the education sector can come in handy and partner with the labor organizations, then I am very sure that they will be able to, help us in eradicating child labor in a very fast way. Because some of the ways that they've been trying to do, just like I said in the research that I did, that ILO has done, is that the eradication of child labor is very low. Very low means it's either nothing is being done or very minimal is being done. And so for us to cut down on the number of children, like I say, 98 million children worldwide that are working, that is both girls and boys. And if these particular young people and the energy that they have is pumped into a different sector that is going to help them, then even dealing with poverty is going to be very easy. And we also need to have this conversation with different organizations to come in handy and partner, because I look forward to child labor coming to an end. However, I do not think that this needs to be a conversation, because child labor in the first place does not need to exist. But we still need to, there's a thin line in child labor and of course children helping in their communities. Then in that thin line, we need to identify how to make these people understand that child labor is this and this, and child labor is not this and this. Then that way, people will be able to start understanding and embracing the aspect of ending child labor, and having children help them, but not put them in jeopardy and affecting their health. So I think there are lots of things that need to be done, and the most important one is we need to have very serious campaigns, and having the national and worldwide organizations come in handy and supporting these particular campaigns. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, my leader. You have really unpacked the question very well. I think the question of doing campaigns and doing a lot of activities around raising awareness, so that communities can understand what a child represents and the potential and capacity in every child to make effective change at a global level. That's why we need to give them more opportunities that will make them grow physically, mentally, and all sorts of growth in their lives. I see Comrade Andy has just joined us, so I will allow him to unmute and speak in terms of, the global context is punctuated by COVID-19. And, with COVID-19, we have seen a lot of, tragic developments at a global level. But I must say that, apart from that, what can be done to protect healthy children who are exposed to hazardous farming, like spraying pesticides, climbing high trees, and so forth. So what can we do to preserve such and make sure that their health is protected so that they can contribute meaningfully to the national questions and the global questions in respective platforms? Thank you, Comrade Andy.
Thank you very much, comrade. And sorry, I have had challenge with my network in Kumasi here. Going specifically, so I will jump my presentation, going specifically to the COVID era problems. During the lockdown, we predicted that if the responses on COVID during the lockdown did not take care of children, nose masks that are prepared are big ones for adults. Children are left at home unattended to, and their parents are at work. And with the current changes in the educational calendars, where people are in blue, green, yellow, and you don't know when exactly your child is home, provisions have not been made properly to take care of children who are during these breakout sessions. So now the child labor is not just on the farm, but it has exploitation of children have come home. So, for example, young girls are being exploited by young men around home because parents are not at home. Number two is that television contents have not adjusted to capture children who will be left at home, but their parents are at work. They are still showing those sexual operas and those things. So home is even not safe with the type of television content that we have. On the farm and in terms of the use of agrochemicals, what we have done in the General Agricultural Workers Union, that is working on the farm, is to conduct extensive education for the farmers. And for example, in Gabu, we have developed the 10 commandments of agrochemicals in simple, plain language and in drawing for farmers to understand that when you are spraying agrochemicals, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't eat. Children are totally out. In the previous discussions, we said that children can participate in agriculture, definitely. Agriculture, children can participate in, but all the hazards must be removed in it for children to play a role.
College professor, whatever. So they have to do other things.
What happened?
Even when I was Koreans.
What happened is that the children that are supposed not to be spraying the agrochemicals are seated close to the farms. They are not spraying. But when their parents are spraying, the spray drift goes to affect them. So what we have said is that when it is time for agrochemicals, it's a no for children. They shouldn't be around the farms at all. One of the things too that we have done in Gawu in our program is what we have called the child labor-free zones. The child labor-free zones activating community systems to respond to child labor needs. So you have the chiefs and the rest all talking about child labor. Now, pinpointing, because you asked me a specific question on chemicals. Now, one thing we realize in the agrochemicals within the chain is that children are home. They are protected at home. They haven't gone to the farm, but their parents go to the farm, get contaminated, and then bring the clothing of the farm home and let the children wash it. And when children are washing it, they hang, also when the parents finish spraying the agrochemicals, they bring the knapsack and the dresses close to the kitchen. And this is where food is being cooked, and this is where children are living. So the whole household is contaminated. One other dangerous thing that parents do that we are doing more education on is that, the agrochemical bottles look very beautiful. So farmers think you can buy them and bring it home and put it under your bed. Although it looks very beautiful, it's the most dangerous liquid you can find on earth. So when they put them in their rooms, they sleep in the room with their children and they close their windows because of mosquitoes. So the whole room is contaminated, although children did not go to the farm. So this is basically what we're saying, that when it comes to agrochemicals, the policies must be stronger. In cocoa like this, for example, now when during spray by the spray gangs, no child goes there. But the danger too is when children close from school and they are walking through the forest and coming home, they don't know which farms have been sprayed and not sprayed. So you can go to school, returning from school, and you get contaminated. In that process also, we have recommended that farmers should begin to use color coding. So when your farm is sprayed, all the angles of the farmers show red flags. So children passing there know that it's a no-go area. So we think that agriculture without child labor is possible, and it's very possible, and it begins with the communities. In the trade union, what we have done is that we have signed collective agreements with the employers that within the environment of employment, both of us will ensure that no child is working there. And then within the supply chain, so in the oil palm area, for example, we have signed what we call code of conduct, that when you produce oil palm and you are supposed to sell to the multinational like GOPDC, like Serendi palm, like Benz oil palm, like FIFO oil palm, when you are doing that one, they will not buy your palm because you use children. But we need more attention in agriculture, because to sum up, you notice that, as my colleagues have previously said, the statistics in child labor globally seem to be reducing. But the increase in child labor that has been set up, more than half of the increase is in sub-Saharan Africa. So all the work we are doing in sub-Saharan Africa and in agriculture needs to be accelerated. So we are calling on our government to work with us, to work with the young people, to work with the global match, work with Fair Share, work with the students to begin to take child labor a step ahead. So communities will begin to be more engaged in promotion of the child labor-free zones within their communities. I want to thank you. One key thing is also to increase incomes of farmers. So in Ghana, for example, what we have done in Gawu is that we have used waste cocoa products to produce organic soap called Alata Semena. That is the black soap. And the farmers are using it in some of our cocoa villages. We have piloted them, and now we need to scale this one up as an income generating activity for the farmers. So I want to thank you very much here now, and conclude that there are national plans of action that government have made. Civil society coalitions should work in the national steering committees and be available to participate in events. We should work with employers to have collective agreements in place and then have codes of conduct. We should increase our advocacy strategy and promote child labor-free zones through organizing of farmers and promoting community systems. I thank you very much for the time.
Hey, I wish I had more time, and I would, be writing notes and, make sure that we produce, something for the people to read. I think you have, unpacked a lot of content, particularly around this fundamental question. The health issue is of importance. So
I sent my presentation to the secretariat, so you can have a copy there. I have a presentation.
Definitely. I'm sure all our listeners have heard that the presentation is there. Please just stay in touch with the All Africa Students Union Secretariat and the team, so that you can get the presentations from all our speakers. I'm sure it's there, and it will be produced and be published with everyone. From me, the moderator, I thank you all for this loyal audience and for the wonderful content that has been given by the speakers. Hopefully all keep safe, stay safe in these trying times. It's COVID-19, has changed the order. So we need everyone to be safe, so that we can meet again and start to articulate and implement the solutions that we have heard from our speakers. I'm sure you all had questions, but I'm being told that our time has come to an end, whilst we're still enjoying what was being discussed from these people. So from me, your moderator, and from my speakers, thank you very much, and everyone who participated and contributed to this session. Thank you very much. I'm sure there are many sessions that are going to be done today. Please join and support All Africa Students Union so that as Africans, as students from Africa, young people from Africa, and all the African network can grow our continent, our benefit and the benefit of the future generations that are going to come after us. So thank you very much. My name, as I said, it's Ashley Punye, straight from Zimbabwe, a former Zimbabwe National Students Union Secretary General. Thank you very much. Enjoy your days, enjoy your evenings, enjoy your mornings. Thank you very much. See you all. You can unmute.
Thank you.
And say
Thank you,
bye-bye.
Wanda.
Yes, Tanaka, I can see you.
Thank you. Thank you all the way from Rwanda.
Thank you all the way from Nigeria. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. It was a great audience. Thank you very much, and thank you. Let's meet in the next session. I'm sure the ASU team is organizing another session for us to continue cross-pollinating on these issues, to continue sharing ideas on these issues that are arising at this particular time. So we are willing to learn. These days, we all know that we learn from each other and we learn from the books that we read. So you can all unmute, introduce yourself, take this time to say anything that you want to say to encourage everyone so that we can all be effective change makers, change drivers for the entire continent of Africa. Oh, all right. I can go random.
Hello, everyone. Okay, my name is Kiana Ezugu, and I'm joining here. I'm sorry I joined very late. I'm glad to be part of this event.
Okay. Welcome, Isuku.
Thank you, Suku. I will just go randomly. I will invite Princess Apia Kubi. You can unmute yourself, Princess Kubi. Okay, I'm sure she just left the jacket on the chair and the Zoom on. Kwame Smith Akwa, you can introduce yourself and speak to the people. It's a great opportunity.
Hello.
Kwame Smith.
Yeah, hello.
Yes,
Yeah,
we can
I'm
hear you.
Save from Burundi.
Yeah,
It's
and
very
I'm
happy
coming
to
from
attend
Ghana.
in the journey. Yeah, Save from Burundi.
Okay, and this is Kwame from Ghana.
Ah, okay. Thank you for the session. It was very great to attend.
All right, thank you too. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, please proceed, Comrade Andy. Please proceed.
Yeah, I think that as a way forward, we are the unions. We are trying to also start working strongly. I used to work with the Agricultural Students Union in Ghana, but by the time it broke up, so that we can begin to introduce this topic on child labor at the student level, so that some of you who are writing topics, you can begin to also choose the child labor as a thematic area, and then you can write your thesis and other projects on, and look at the situation in Africa. Because in Africa, the whole world seems to be decreasing. But those of us in sub-Saharan Africa, we account for more than half the world's population of child labor. And this is at a time that, for example, in Ghana, we have a national plan of action. There is so much work we have done in the Agricultural Union, for example, working with the Teachers Union on Lake Volta, for example. We have rescued more than 4,500 children. But as we rescue, the number keep increasing in different sectors. So what do? It is everybody's business. As students, we are well covered and we have a bigger network. Let's begin to talk about it. Let's begin to engage our district government structures, the state government structures. In Ghana, it's called district assemblies. Let's begin to engage. And in one of the programs that I talked about, the child labor free zone, the chief is empowered to make a statement that my community will be child labor free. Once the chief says that, all of us around, the students, the local unions, the farmers, the teachers, the pastors, the imams, we all begin to work and ensure that there is no child labor existing. So I think that this is a battle and a fight that we have started. It's not just a one-day thing. I've been working on it for close to 20 years. It's not just a one-day thing. It's something we pick with the passion, and then we can accelerate the efforts. Every child deserves education. Every child deserves a fair share of whatever we are getting from profits in multinationals. Children deserve fair share of those ones for their education and growth. And that should be something we should all take up. I thank my colleagues for the attention. I talk so much on this because it's a passionate area for me.
Yes, the passion is what drives us all, my brother. Passion is what makes us who we are. Young people, bold enough, willing, and capacitated to make effective change. And I thank you for the wisdom that you are giving us all. It speaks really to what we are transforming to having action statements. You know, when we cease from just speaking things, but also in terms of implementing things on the ground. I'm seeing you are raising, doing community projects, doing community initiatives, and also encouraging young people to write. It's important because there hasn't been a lot of documentation, particularly on child labor at an African level. So we read on the laws, we read on what has been written back then, but there is no significant content that speaks to the child labor crisis that we have in Africa. So we need us as young people to start documenting all these things, writing them down so that future generations will know the struggle that we fought to eliminate child labor, so that they can make sure that we safeguard, protect, and uphold the rights that we have gained. But still, it will be an inspiration for them to carry on the struggle and fight for more rights as young people, as energetic people that are going to come in the future. So thank you very much. It's all the passion that we have to change our countries, the passion that we have to make sure that young people get all the opportunities and are capacitated in all possible ways so that they can make effective change and meaningful contributions in the entire global question. So I'll just go random. I see Veronica there.
Yes, great.
Veronica.
Call Veronica.
Yes, she just joined. She can just, Tanaka, you should get in touch. I see you're from Zimbabwe. You should also get in touch so that we start to do actions on the ground. But for now, I invite Veronica to take the floor and, speak your mind on this particular issue.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah,
Perfect.
thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me to participate to the discussion. I actually missed a substantive part of the discussion, but seeing Andrew gives me a little, some confidence to share a few things. I don't know what has been discussed so far, but when it comes to child labor, I know there are a lot of issues that around child labor, both at country level, both within Ghana and other parts of Africa, and a lot of work is being done around it, but certainly more can be done because we still have a lot of children being trafficked to work, for in the fishing sector, in on the farms, cocoa farms, and in all manner of in various sectors within the agri sector. And so certainly I'm sure a lot of proposals have come up on how this can be addressed, considering the experts have seen. And I believe in building more synergy, among various sectors to tackle the issues. We can only push the agenda when we are all working together, sharing the information in real time and supporting each other, building our capacities to engage the relevant people in governments. The trade unions have a role to play at the regional level, global level. And so for me, it's about working together to address this topic.
Yes, thank you very much. We have finally come to the end of our session. It was really a great educative session, which we all have some takeaways with us. So thank you very much for participating. A lot of issues discussed, a lot of issues raised, and thanks Veronica for giving us those closing remarks, I might say. They were very powerful, very important to shaping the narrative that we're discussing. So I see Comrade James Koji is alerting me that our time is up. So thank you very much to everyone. May you keep safe, stay safe, and make sure that we keep alive, stay alive to save our continent and to fight the crisis that we face, which is child labor. But not forgetting our sole mandate as the All Africa Students Union to fight for academic freedoms, to fight for quality education, and to fight for sustainable means so that everyone can get access to education. So thank you very much. From me, your host, Ashton Funye from Zimbabwe. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day. Enjoy wherever you are and stay safe. Thank you very much. Over to you, Comrade James Coach.
Okay, thank you, Ashlyn. Thank you, everyone. Bye.